East China School District Board of Education meeting. If you all please stand for a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everybody. First item is items of interest, recognition, and inquiry. Board of Education members, I'd just like to real quick welcome Lindsay Chop to our board.
Thank you so much.
Glad to have you.
Yep,
Thank you so much. Anybody else have anything?
No.
Suzanne?
I just want to echo President Frank in welcoming Lindsay Chap to our board. Thank you.
I do have something. Just a real quick. I just wanted to give a shout out to all of our sports teams, the equestrian teams at both schools. I saw posts on Facebook how they're doing. We never hear about them. You know, it's always football, which I love. But I'm glad that we've got some other interests and they're doing well. The boys tennis team at Marine City, I know last week was 8-0. And I don't mean to skip anybody's team. So I'm just glad that we have coaches and that we have kids and we have sports, and that's it.
Okay. Our next item on the agenda is our consent agenda. A motion is needed for the approval of minutes from our regular Board of Ed meeting on August 23rd, the approval of payments of bills, the financial statement, schedule of investments, and the appointment of new teachers. Are there any comments or questions?
Yes, I will be abstaining from this vote.
Okay. Dawn, can you make sure that? Okay. Anybody else? Okay, all in favor, please. Oh, I need a motion.
So
Thank you.
support. Support.
Okay. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Our next item is recognitions of persons wishing to address the board. This portion of the agenda is for citizens to address any questions or comments to the board. It's our policy that the board will listen, take comments and questions under advisement, and we are not able to respond at this time. However, you will be receiving an email or a phone call in response to tonight's comment. The other thing to bear in mind is please keep your comments to 5 minutes and come to the center microphone. So my first green card is from Alice Dentel.
So I have something for you guys to look at. Can I have her give that to you? It's just
Sure.
something you guys can look at. Then you'll know what I'm talking about when I get to it.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. First of all, let me say congratulations to everybody in our district, especially our leaders, on us being voted one of the best of 2021. Secondly, as a parent and a taxpayer of this district, I want to thank you for making efforts to keep our kids priority number one and to work to ensure parent choice in our great district. I want to end with one issue that I believe is important in the atmosphere in which we are living. As I'm sure others have received a notice, I gave her the copy, about confirmed cases at specific schools. I was under the impression it was directly from the health department, but when I questioned them directly, I was informed that it was just simply a form letter that they provide to the districts to use. Put simply, if it comes from East China, it should come on East China letterhead. I know it's a small thing, petty maybe, but an open dialogue between parents and the district should always be plain and to the point and not seem or be portrayed as coming from an outside source. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, my next green card is from Jessica Holcomb.
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to address the quarantine issue. And I wanted to let you know that there's parents in this district, and we've come together and teamed up with other local school districts in St. Clair County, and we're trying to go against the St. Clair County Health Department for the quarantines. We're currently in the process of trying to remove the quarantine public health order for St. Clair County, but we're gonna need help from you guys. We need you guys to back us up. We need you to stand with us, with the community, to stop the quarantine of our healthy kids. These measures are not proven to reduce or mitigate the spread of COVID by any means. A friend of mine in Yale, FOIA requested the numbers pertaining to quarantines from her school district, and to her surprise, this information was not readily available. The health department is constantly pushing case numbers and quarantine numbers, but it is unwilling to show how these quarantines are helping to decrease the spread of COVID. They only care about the numbers that go along with their narrative to push the pandemic fear. This is what my friend found out in Yale. Yale Public Schools last year had 54 cases that required close contact quarantine and another 11 cases that did not require it, making a total of 65 cases. From the 54 cases, there were 1,103 students that were close contact quarantined for 2 weeks. And of those 1,103 quarantined kids, there were possibly 2 to 4 positive cases. This data alone is enough to show that the quarantines do nothing more than are depriving our healthy children of a quality education. I think it is worth looking into our numbers in East China. How many close contact quarantine kids ended up getting sick last year? How many kids missed important events like dances, graduations, projects, sporting events, etc., because they were put on close contact quarantine? And how many of them tested positive? How many of them never got sick? We are asking this board to stand with the community. Let's use a common sense approach to this virus. We are asking you guys to go against St. Clair County Health Department's ridiculous quarantine orders. If a kid is symptomatic, that kid stays home. If a kid tests positive, that kid stays home. Just like we've done in years past, when someone is sick, they stay home. If they're sick with the flu or the strep, that kid stays home. Not the whole class, not anyone that was within so much amount of area to them. You know, we just need you guys' help to stop quarantining our healthy kids. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Kim Van Back?
Hi.
Hi.
I would like to piggyback what Jessica just said. And also, I like to say, when our kids, watch the Emmys and they see everyone hugging and they're maskless, they're not quarantining healthy celebrities. This is not what's happening to our children. And it's kind of a slap in the face to them. Our children should not have to bear this burden, and we shouldn't be quarantining healthy children. At NFL or college games, everyone is maskless, and no COVID tracing, hence no quarantining of healthy people, because they may have gotten it. I'd just like you to think about that. Also, I really push teen mental health. When you line up 5 kids, one of them suffers some anxiety. This is as of 2021. This is definitely due to the mandates. In March through April of 2021, compared to the same period a year ago, teen-age girls aged 12 to 17 admitted to the hospital, diagnosed for attempted suicide, went up 50.6%. I'm sure this is due to school mandates. They play a huge part in that. I'm just really asking you to really, let's get a handle on these quarantines. Let's figure out a different method, a different way, and let's stop doing it, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Christina Cantrell?
Hello. 3 months ago, I addressed the board with my concerns over the no visitor, no volunteer policy. I never got a response on that. And over the summer, I've emailed several times, still no response. I just wanted to say, parents want to be involved with the daily parties and lunches, and we really want to be there with the kids. And it's important to the kids, too, that They have their parents there involved with the parties, and, you know, we all enjoy that. And I wanted to touch base too. My husband works afternoons, so he doesn't get to see the kids until the weekend. So, you know, you have to think about the parents who want to come and spend time with the children at lunch, but now they can't, or they want to volunteer for the Halloween party, and now they can't be there. And it's really, you know, I feel like it's going to take a toll on the kids eventually. They want their parents there involved and, you know, enjoying that atmosphere and sharing that with them. So that's all I wanted to say for today. Thank you.
Thank you. James Ferdahl.
Good evening. My name is James Ferrit. It's first time here addressing the board. I'm here twofolds. I need the board to rethink about their policy on self-defense, because you don't have it. My son was suspended 2 days for self-defense. It was clearly stated it was self-defense, and it was considered fighting. So if you could look into that, I'd really appreciate it. Second off, state that everybody's trying to push mask mandates on children. Unfortunately, I've looked into the Michigan Department of Education's prohibited practices from all schools within the state of Michigan. Prohibited means you can't do it. And it clearly states in here what you cannot do. It basically says you cannot restrain a child's breathing. And it has underneath there mechanical restraint, which means the use of any device, article, garment, or material attached to or adjacent to a pupil's body to perform the restraint. It's clearly stated in the Michigan's Department of Education's procedures for all schools. I really highly recommend that you guys look into that, and because if you guys are going to violate stuff that they say is prohibited, then what says the parents have to follow the student handbook or the students? Thank you.
Thank you. Mary Powell.
Good evening. I come to you from Port Huron because I'm here supporting other parents in your district. First, I'm going to give you a little history about quarantines. Quarantines date back to the plague. It was meant to be used when there isn't therapeutics, vaccines, medicines, or a cure. Last time I checked, we have that for COVID. So why are we quarantining healthy kids? I did a little bit of research. Do you know how many kids have died from COVID-19 related complications since March of 2020? Or how many have committed suicide? Because since March of 2020, 17 kids have died from COVID complications. In 2020 alone in Michigan, 17 kids committed suicide. And I've been to 4 this year alone. That's not fair to our kids to keep quarantining them. These kids are missing out on dances, football games, tennis matches, all of that. So our health department director is sending out threatening letters stating that she will have you detained or your child. Here's a clue, parents. When you get that letter, call and demand a court date. Because as of Friday, 15 cases have gone through Michigan courts, and all of them have been thrown out, and the kids have returned to school because it is unlawful to take away the kids' right to free public education, and it is unlawful to do this without giving them due process. And everybody wants to talk about due process for Dr. Mercantant and rescinding her orders and all of that. Well, you have a right to due process too, so take advantage of it and don't let your kids sit at home and their mental health be ruined over a virus that will never go away. I listened to a live broadcast today of doctors, virologists, and scientists who have said that this is an endemic. What is the flu? An endemic. Comes back every year. You're going to have spikes. You're going to go low. You're going to have spikes. You either learn to live with it or just hide because it's never going away. And stop ruining the mental health of the kids in this county over a virus that has little to no effect on kids at all. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean Treadaway.
First of all, thank you for allowing me to speak. Ms. Chop, congratulations. Good to see you up on the board. My next statement has nothing to do with your appointment other than double checking the board to ensure that they're doing the correct thing. I had a very wonderful conversation with the superintendent a couple weeks ago after the last meeting. At the end of the conversation, I asked if the appointment of Ms. Chop was done legally according to the bylaws. So vacancies 0142.5 in your bylaws say the appointment of the board to fill a vacancy shall be by majority vote of the full board. Mr. Westrick, you were gone during that vote. The superintendent did say to me that she believed that we had a quorum and that should have been good enough. A quorum only is defined as having enough members. Under 0162 quorum, 4 members shall constitute a quorum. So no business shall be conducted in the absence of a quorum. So yes, you had a quorum, but you did not have a full vote of the board. That is specifically stated in your bylaws. Again, so just checking on the board. Next thing is had the board or the superintendent spoken to your corporate counsel about the issue of due process being bypassed to all of the students being removed due to the health director's order? So that's her quarantine order. Mary spoke about it, so did Elsie or Christine. Just wondering if you've spoken to your own corporate counsel about the due process because of the cases that are out there. That's about it. Thanks.
Joshua Erickson? I'm sorry.
Hello. So my name is Jonna Erickson, and I have 2 children who absolutely love to be in the East China School District. Last year, I decided to homeschool them with your guys' virtual academy because I have very strong views when it comes to the mask mandate. I think that it is absolutely just horrifying what these kids are having to go through, and we are seeing, just as you can tell what everybody is saying, it's heartbreaking, okay? So I just ask you guys, how logical is it to have the kids mandated to wear a mask on the bus? I have a 9-year-old daughter who desperately wants to ride the bus and hates that she has to pick, do I wear a mask and get to ride the bus and hang out with my friends that I don't get to see anymore at school because I'm not really getting to go back and forth and, you know, the way lunches and everything are. She isn't getting all the time with all of her friends that live in the neighborhood that she'd like to see and aren't able to come over. So she's having to pick at 9 years old, do I wear a mask and get to do what I want to do? Or do I have my mom drive me and I miss that crucial time that I need with my friends? She is very, very social, and it is devastating to see the anxiety in her face every single day as she contemplates, do I wear a mask? She has even gone so far where she steps on her bus and doesn't want to put her mask on, and the bus driver says, I will leave you unless you put your mask on. I don't know if you guys have seen the video of a 3-year-old little boy who was forced to wear a mask at childcare, and they said, this is to make you safe. This is for your safety. Tell me, is this really safe for our children to be wearing masks? Is it safe for them to be breathing in their own carbon dioxide? Because I'll tell you what, there are children who die every single year from open carbon dioxide poisoning, okay, from riding behind boats or other things where they are exposed to large amounts of carbon dioxide. And we are asking our children to breathe those in, breathe in their own waste. Is it logical? The last 6 days, I'm sorry, I lied. The last 10 days, I've gone to 3 different major events. I went to 2 concerts. One was inside, one was outside. I also went to the Lions game yesterday, okay? Ask me, how many parents, how many grown adults were wearing masks around thousands of people that they do not see on a regular basis? But you are telling our children that they have to wear a mask when they literally walk outside their classrooms and they congregate together with their friends so they can actually talk and look at each other face to face and smile at one another before they are then escorted onto the bus where they are now mandated to wear a mask. It makes It's not logical. It is not logical to make these kids wear a mask on the bus when they are literally spending all day long in the classroom with these same students. Then they're walking around the building not wearing a mask with these students, but we are asking them, once you step into this bus, that you have to wear a mask. Is that logical? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the Bond 2020 discussion and action item, pilot room furniture presentation. I believe Alicia from TMP is here to present for us.
Hi, good evening. I'm Alicia Bettinger. I'm an interior designer for TMP Architecture, working on the bond program, specifically the furniture right now for the pilot rooms. I just wanted to give a brief overview. The purpose and vision of doing these pilot rooms is that we can test and refine the potential furniture products that we're going to do building-wide at all these different school districts. The vision is that we're going to provide a variety of seating options, a variety of table heights, flexible teacher products so that the students and the teachers can really test out what this furniture is going to be like, get an idea for the products and uses for these spaces. So I'm just going to go through Bell River Elementary. This is the layout that we're going to approve today. This is for first grade. We have about 30 kids in this space, a variety of tables and table heights. Pine River, we're going to have second grade in this room, about 26 kids. There's going to be a variety of taller tables, smaller tables, some soft seating options. Gearing Elementary, third grade, it's going to have about 28 seats. Again, variety of table heights and some storage pieces for them. Palms Elementary, we're going to have fourth grade in here with 28 kids. Again, a variety of tables, either group tables, individual tables, soft seating, mobile storage. St. Clair Middle School, again, variety of seating. Seventh grade is what's going to be in here for math, 32 seats. Have some tall tables in the back and then some wall-hung whiteboards on the wall. Marine City Middle School, this will be a STEM classroom for 30 kids. It's going to be a very flexible space. They can use those islands in the middle and then do group works on the D-shaped tables around the perimeter of the room. St. Clair High School, we're going to do a three-tiered option here. There's about 30 kids in this room for social studies. You can see that the back row will be 42 inches high, middle row will be 36 inches high, front row will be 30 inches high. So it'll be a really cool tiered effect for them. And then last but not least is Marine City High School. Again, a variety of different table types and seating options. And all of these are color-coded to the schools as well as far as finishes so that we can reuse this product later, maybe in the media center, and be able to utilize this, going forward in the rest of the process. So this comes down to all of these 8 classrooms. The total would be $99,637.63 that we're asking for your approval for today so that we can get this ordered and get it installed for Christmas break. That's all I've got.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So like in Bell River Elementary, are we only replacing the first grade classrooms furniture?
Yep, so each building has one pilot classroom that we're putting together, and that's what we're looking at tonight. And these will be installed over the holiday Christmas break of this school year. So the urgency of getting with our supply chain issues, getting it ordered.
Yes.
And then our hope as a school district would be that, or our plan with the school district would be that the furniture in these rooms would be shared by other teachers so that they could each try it out and see which ones they liked, which ones they didn't, before we did wholesale purchases for the district.
Yeah.
Okay, good deal. Thank you.
What has been the supply chain for this furniture?
Yeah, so just this past summer we've been noticing a lot of just delays with shipping and manufacturing and some of these furniture vendors. I've talked with the furniture vendors that you see here that we're proposing. They don't foresee there being an issue for Christmas break, but we just want to get the order in early just in case there are issues, because we are still seeing, steel and lumber are kind of holding things up as far as shipping and manufacturing. So we just want to make sure we get this in, very soon, within the next week or two, to get purchase orders so that we can get it installed for Christmas.
Did the teachers help develop this?
The principals did. Yep.
Yeah.
Did the teachers?
Did we have teachers in those meetings? Yes.
Have we identified already the teachers
Yes.
whose classrooms these are going to be?
Correct.
And do they have flexibility with it? Like, are they going to match this design, or can they try to move things around? And
Well, that's the hope.
Right.
Is that and the purpose for having these pilot classrooms is that we can try them as Alicia has outlined, or else we could
move around,
try
yeah.
moving them around. And some teachers have already identified issues that they think they may have, but they want to try it and see first.
Yeah.
And then work through them, or decide that this furniture isn't really going to work in a classroom setting moving forward. I'm interested, as a former high school teacher, that tiered approach that we're putting the social studies classroom at the St. Clair High School is very interesting to me.
Yeah.
And then the hope is all the classrooms will have this furniture?
Eventually. Oh, yes. That's the purpose, again, is to give us a chance to try this out, to actually have students sit in it, to actually use the desks, have teachers moving about the classroom and see which pieces are working for us and which ones aren't. Because just because it's new and it looks innovative and cool, it might not actually be what we're looking for.
Correct.
For long-term furniture solutions. So this gives us a chance to try it before we actually buy it for the entire district.
It looks like these are all on wheels, the tables?
Yeah, so all the
they can
tables
move
will be
around
mobile, so
easily.
they will have locking casters, so if they want to be able to lock them into place, once they set it up, they can do that, and then they can unlock it really easily to move it around and configure it into a new setting. Some of the chairs may have casters on it, but with the lower levels, we like to just keep it stationary for them, but they do have a little bit of flex or movement, some different options for them to kind of try different seating options for the lower elementary.
Alicia, are any of these tables like whiteboards, especially at the secondary level?
Yes, a couple of them are. So some of the guided reading or lower level, let me actually go back to one of, so at Bell River, the one that has like the red dots around it, that'll all be whiteboard. So it's kind of what we call a sushi style table, where it's lower and you have like a cushion, like a 6-inch high cushion that the kids will sit at around there with a whiteboard table. This one, the one that's the moon shape, the guided reading table off in the bottom left, that will have a whiteboard on it. So we're providing those options so that the kids can have something to write on, but we're not testing it out on all of the tables because we want to test out on
Right.
one and see how they like it.
No, I was just wondering, because
Yeah.
I had read about that, and I was hoping that we would be testing something like that.
Yep, and then for example in this room as well, you can see in the tables of the top, the pictures show like a tote storage underneath there, so we're going to test out having some tote storage at their desk, and then another classroom won't have tote storage at the desk. They'll have like a mobile unit that they can go and grab their stuff from. So we're just trying to test out with all these different elementary classrooms what works best. So the hope is that all teachers from the district will go and test these rooms at some point to see what they like.
One of the neat features at the St. Clair Middle School are the personal whiteboards that will be hanging on the wall that they
Yes.
can go grab and use as needed. See if that works, or see if maybe the tabletop whiteboard works, or.
Yep.
Yep.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so we have an action item on this. Per administration's recommendation, as presented by TMP Architecture, the Board of Education approves the purchase of pilot classroom furniture from the 7 listed vendors in the amount of $99,637.63.
So moved.
Support. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to our information and discussion items for this evening. First up is our Bond 2020 project update. So we have a representative from TMP or OC to present for us this evening.
Mike Tobis.
Good evening. Can
Hi.
you hear me?
Yes.
Good.
I'm here, my name is Mike Tobis. I'm a senior project manager with the George W. Alt Company, and we are the construction managers for the bond issue. Quick update on some construction activities that a lot of you have seen lately. Innovation Center and ECC, progress update right here on this campus. Utilities and foundations are utilities are underway. Next 2 weeks, you'll start seeing foundations go in, and we're prepping everything underground so that everything can start going vertical. We're still on track for complete with a major construction of the renovations and additions by the end of summer 2022, with then us working closely with the district to coordinate furniture and IT to come after that, and get ready for a move-in and a celebration. St. Clair 6 through 12 building gym addition. Bids came in as anticipated within the estimate. So we are going through and interviewing all the contractors, make sure they have the appropriate scope right now, and we anticipate the major construction activity of that shovel to go in the ground mid-June of 2022. Marine City 6 through 12 design development is near completion, so that's when we do a estimate review to make sure we're staying within the bond budget. And St. Clair 6 through 12 is also in its schematic early design phases with that school, and we will do an estimate to track that to the bond budget also. And so right now everything is tracking to the bond budget, so that's a good news. That's about all I have for the early update right now. Are there any questions from the board?
Is it tracking to the bond budget without any exclusions? So meaning, are we on budget without any exclusions?
Currently,
Yes.
we're on budget, yes.
So we haven't had, as a result of prices or?
Not at this point, no.
Correctly, but we're trying to anticipate some of the pressures that are on the market in our estimates right now for these projects coming up. We got the bids in for the campus here under the big bump or the minor bump we saw in inflationary pricing, so.
So you said the Innovation Center will be done in June, and then furnishing after that. So what are we looking at as far as move-in to be able to use this space?
Well, is it okay if I answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're anticipating a soft opening the fall of 2022, but not a full opening until we get the IT and the furniture and the systems running. I think the project completion is July, August, hopefully, in that range.
Correct. For the heavy construction,
Heavy,
yes.
yep.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, our next item is mental health challenges, finding solutions in our schools with Mr. Walling and Ms. Grange.
And good evening, President Frank, Superintendent Sibulo, and members of the board. Michael Walling and I are excited to share information about how East China School District is addressing some of the mental health challenges as well as the social emotional learning of our students within the district. As you can see, we have increased our school social work staff within the district. For the past couple of years, the district has had 3 full-time social workers servicing the entire school district. In this past year, we have increased to 7 full-time social workers. In addition, we have 2 C4S social workers, which stands for Caring for Students, which are provided to us from St. Clair County RESA. We have several programs as well that we are implementing this year, which Mr. Walling will touch base with you guys about. And he'll also cover some of the staff training and awareness trainings that have been offered, and we have many that are still ongoing to support the behavior and mental health needs of our students. And this is our social work staff for the district. It's nice to see that the list is much longer than it has been in the past. I have a Lone Ranger social worker here, so I'm going to introduce him first. This is Chris O'Neill. He's our social worker at Bell River Elementary School. Yeah. And then we also have Rebecca Alexander at St. Clair High School, Caitlin Click, who's at Gearing Elementary, Devin France at Riverview East High School, Jacqueline Franklin's at Pine River, Maura McCartan, she's at Marine City High School. Stephanie Neiman is at St. Clair Middle School. Kelly Parkinson's at the Marine City campus. And then we have Michelle Pernito, who's at Palms and St. Clair Middle School as well. And I'm going to turn it over to Michael.
Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, President Frank. Thank you, Superintendent Cybula. Mrs. Cybula asked me to come tonight to go through some of the components that we've added into our curriculum to support not only our students but also our staff. So I want to walk you through kind of our key focus areas and some of the curriculum pieces, and then if you have any questions, I'd be glad to go through those with you at the end. So the first piece is the partnership with community mental health. So this is something that we've always had as a tool in our toolbox, but I've been approached by a couple of their staff members over the last 6 to 9 months looking to provide additional support to the district, and they've started that with a couple of staff/student presentations. And so one of the big things that we wanted to focus on was transitioning back to school. There's obviously a lot of stress and anxiety that go with a normal school year, and so one of our key focus areas was to talk with our staff about what transitioning back to in-person instruction, what that was going to look like for staff, what that was going to look like for students, that it's okay to have stress and anxiety in your day, but the key part is understanding how to handle that. And so we have the training pieces they've already provided, and then we also have kits that were developed at each of the 3 levels and dropped off as supports from community mental health to both ends of the district. The next piece is something that we've had in the district for a little while. Bell River Elementary has been working with Calm Classroom. They were our initial pilot per se. They used some title funding to bring that support on board, and their staff really, really liked it. And so we spent some time looking at it as an administrative team. It's available for kindergarten through 8th grade students, so we wanted it both at our elementaries and our middle schools. The key focus areas of the program, it deals with calming techniques for students, stress relief, anxiety reduction, all things that pop up in a normal year, especially more so this year as we transition back to hopefully a more normal school year as we move forward. The nice piece with this program is it's an easy lift, relatively speaking, for our staff. It's 10 to 15 minutes per school day, and those chunks of time, that's split up even further over 3 different sessions throughout the day where the teacher works with the class on some sort of calming technique or stress reduction activity. And then what you'll find with all of these curriculum mental health supports is they're all very research-based and backed. And so everything happens for a reason, and it's very purposeful what they have our staff do with our students. So some of the key research-based positive outcomes, improvements in behavior, reducing student stress, boosting student engagement, and then teacher stress reduction. We had in the training sessions that we ran last year with Gearing Elementary and Pine River Elementary, we had staff frequently stating it was nice to be able to take a breath during the day and to make that a set thing that occurs throughout the day. It allows us to slow down a little bit, and it allows for a situation where students oftentimes would feel stress to have a moment to not be stressed and to teach them skills that they can carry on after school or outside of school. And in parentheses up there, that last point, they're very big on feedback from their partner districts, and in those feedback reports, 71% report using those techniques outside of school. So that's both staff and students, especially the older students, because as they're in the program more and more, they become more familiar with the techniques and they're more capable and able of using those. The next piece.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So at the middle school level, are there certain hours of the day that are designated for, because I think you mentioned like
So that's a
3 times
building,
during the day.
that's specific to the buildings, because obviously they're in an, a 6-period
Right.
day. Yeah, so that's a building-specific thing that I wouldn't be able to speak to, but it looks different there than it does in the elementary buildings. In the elementary buildings, it's geared around the transitions, because that's obviously a stressful time and kind of a little bit of chaos, even in a great classroom. And so a lot of teachers transitioning maybe back from recess or an outside time, before a test, after a test, that kind of thing. That's where you would see that there. But yeah, that's a building-based decision for the middle schools. The next piece is a secondary component for our 6th through 12th grade students, and that's the Trails program out of the University of Michigan. This program is a little bit different, but it also has some commonalities with Calm Classroom. The key points here are resiliency and self-regulation. One of the big things for our students, especially this year, is they're back into switching classes more frequently and having a greater workload in terms of the number of subjects that they're experiencing in a given day. And so that whole idea of resiliency and self-regulation, I feel like really comes into play more so this year than last year, because for me, and our students too, if you transition between 3 classes last year versus 6 this year, there's a lot more stress that's built into that. The next piece would be self-care strategies. So just taking time to realize that mental health is important for both our staff and students, and then equipping them with strategies to help to take care of themselves. A lot of our teachers are people who constantly take care of others. That's part of the job. And so I think sometimes it's important for not only for us to emphasize in the curriculum that we want that, but for us to equip our staff and our students with self-care strategies that they can utilize throughout the day, throughout a school year, and then outside of work as well. With the Trails program, there's 2 tiers. And so tier 1 is school-wide, so that's every student experiences the lessons that go with that. The tier 2 piece is in development, and the reason it's in development is we need, St. Clair County does not have other districts that have incorporated trails into it. So Macomb County has, Oakland County has, Washtenaw, some of the bigger counties. So they have coaches that are ready to come and work with their social workers in the district. St. Clair County does not have that. So we are working with Trails on the tier 2 piece to work with our social workers in order to incorporate that piece in. And then the implementation of this is building-based. And what I mean by that is, again, what does that look like in the individual building in terms of how they're incorporating those lessons in? There's a lot of flexibility. So there's 20 lessons. You can present them 1 time a week. You can do it 2 times a week. You can split them up. You could do it during seminar time. So there's a lot of flexibility with that piece. And we've left the implementation in that regard up to the individual buildings. The next piece that we've had in the district, but I think it's important to highlight, is the Positivity Project. So this is something that we have at St. Clair Middle School, Gearing Elementary, and then Pine River Elementary. And this program focuses on character building and positive relationship building skills. This is a daily piece that occurs in the classroom with our teachers. And I included this quote here because I think it's really fitting for what we're trying to do with this program. And it states, "Resilience requires relationships, not rugged individualism. The single most common finding is that children who end up doing well have had at least one stable and committed relationship with a supportive parent, caregiver, or other adult." And I think all of us that are in education, we realize that, how important relationships are. And I think more so this last year and a half, we've really started to realize that this is at the forefront of what we need to care the most about. And so that's the nice feature of the Positivity Project. And then the last slide just highlights some of the training that we've done with our staff up to this point. Obviously, with any professional development, it's an ongoing process. But for Calm Classroom, our staff have worked through an e-learning professional development series which is outstanding, truly. It's very eye-opening for staff to sit and go through the techniques that they do in the training, and so it's a really powerful professional development. The next piece is the train the trainer approach, and so we have partnered with Community Mental Health and Calm Classroom in order to basically train a couple members of our staff in each building, and then they help to facilitate the training with the remainder of their staff, oftentimes in a staff meeting, or they'll provide a presentation for their staff. The trails piece, our staff at the secondary level have all gone through the Tier 1 professional development opportunity. That was one of the things that they did in their back-to-school professional development days. As I mentioned before, the Tier 2 process is ongoing. P2, that's a building level training and facilitation. I know a couple of the buildings when it was first implemented, it was a slow rollout over a series of months, building in components in kind of a stepwise fashion. And then finally, community mental health. There's a series of ongoing webinars and professional development opportunities for our staff, that we will continue to incorporate in where applicable, whether that be in a PLC or in additional professional development days that we have with our staff. So I know that's a lot of information, but I think it's important that the board and our community sees that we've made this a priority, and it's good stuff. So if anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to attempt to answer them. And if not,
how does one go about measuring the effectiveness over time?
So most of these have a survey component that the company works with districts on kind of interpreting your survey results, both staff and students, in terms of effectiveness. It's tricky though, because I'm a science guy, I know you're a science guy, and we like kind of hard data and statistics, and it's a little bit trickier because this is perceptive data. What are you perceiving is happening? But with regard to behaviors, for example, we can look at behavioral referrals that would come into the office. We could look at attendance rates. There's lots of ways that we can use pieces we have in place to measure effectiveness, but it is a little bit different.
So is there like a baseline that you measured prior?
There's an initial survey, and then there's a post-survey, yes.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. Anything else?
No, thank you very much.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Okay, our next item is professional development for instructional hours and days. Dawn Dimick.
Thank you, President Frank, members of the board, and Superintendent Cybula. I'm here today to talk about the professional development. As Mr. Walling mentioned, you now have a great understanding of how important the professional development is for our teachers so that we can implement these wonderful programs and pass those on to our students. So part of the professional development law under the state legislation changed last year in 2019, allowing us to count 38 hours of professional development for teachers as hours or days of instruction. We had to meet certain requirements in order to do that. The requirements included that a professional development advisory committee must be appointed by the board, and that advisory committee must recommend at least 8 hours of the professional development. If the professional development is provided online, the district must have approved the instruction. The professional development hours are used to offset instructional time for pupils whose teachers were scheduled to attend the professional development. In order for it to count, 75% minimum of our teachers must participate. The professional development must be aligned to the school or district improvement plan, so any of the professional development that is provided must be correlated to what we have determined to be our school or district improvement plan. The professional development must be linked to one of the criteria in our evaluation tool. So we use 5D plus for our teacher evaluation. So our PD must be linked to that 5D and part of that. The department must approve the professional development, and when I say department, I mean the state, must approve the professional development and confirm that it is eligible for sketches. And then there's a certain criteria as to how many hours can be done in 1 month and how many can be done before or after the start of the school year. So what I'm here tonight to ask for the board's approval on is the appointment of the Professional Development Advisory Committee. We have met with the union and have provided a recommendation as to the members that we are recommending that be appointed to the board. There are certain criteria as to who those members can be. Majority must be included in the teaching staff, so majority of the board must be teachers, but we also must have a parent, an administrator, and a non-teaching staff member. So for our Professional Development Committee for this year, we are recommending that you appoint Tim Dennis, who is a special education teacher at Marine City High School, Sean Jazanowski, who is a third grade teacher at Gearing Elementary, and also the ECEA president, Kika Milligan, who is a parent in the district and also serves as an elementary teacher, Barb Smith, who is a middle school teacher, Michael Walling as the administrator, because obviously he's quite involved with professional development, and then myself as the non-teaching staff member. So tonight is just open for discussion, and we will schedule this appointment for the next board meeting in October. But we are recommending the advisory committee so that we can go ahead with the hours of instruction for the PD time. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
So I think you mentioned one of the people was a teacher and a parent.
Yeah, yes.
So she qualifies as
Yes.
both for the
Yes.
committee?
She has 2 students in the district, so she's really a parent, but she happens to be a teacher as well.
Got it.
Giving a different perspective because they did want a majority to be teachers. So,
Is there a minimum number of meetings that you have to have?
no,
No?
no.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Less meetings, but, yeah, and so a lot of this will be done at the time that we develop the calendar for the following year.
okay.
Because we look at the different hours that are used. We've had PLCs for the last couple of years, and the PLCs do count as professional development, so the teachers are obviously very involved in those professional learning committees. Those are teacher-led meetings for our early release days. And then we have 3 scheduled full PD days, 2 prior to the start of the year and 1 during the school year.
I got a follow-up to Todd's question
Yes.
about the parent who's also a teacher.
Mhm.
But the requirements were that we had one parent that's not a teacher. So, I mean, are they looking for somebody specifically not to be in the educational field to fulfill that role on this board? And
They're
we're kind
looking
of
for-
skirting
sorry.
around that?
I mean, we're certainly open to that. We just thought because they're looking for a majority of the membership to be teachers, that it would be a good idea to have someone that has the parent perspective as well as that teaching
Okay, so I
background.
misunderstand. They're looking for the majority
Yes, the
to be a
majority of
teacher.
them to
Okay.
be teachers,
Thank you
yes.
for
Yep.
clarifying that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so the last item is Human Resource and Payroll Services Agreement. Mrs. Saipula.
Thank you. In our continuing effort as a district to consolidate and create efficiencies where we can, I reached out to Kevin Miller at RISA to discuss a cooperative agreement between East China School District and RISA. And this discussion revolved around RISA providing payroll and benefit services for East China School District. There are other districts within our county that model this agreement already and have a current operating agreement with payroll and benefits with RISA. And for us, for East China School District, we already use the RISA benefits and our payroll office for part of our payroll services currently. The agreement outlines the shift of services from East China School District to RISA. This cooperative agreement will allow East China School District to realize savings as well as a benefit with the depth of services that RISA is able to provide. Because they have an entire department of benefits and payroll, they're able to provide a deeper depth of service than a single person is able to do on their own. I met with Dr. Miller and Angie Gleason, and Don Demick and I also met with representatives from the RISA Payroll and Benefits Department, and we are in agreement that this type of agreement between East China School District and RISA will provide savings to the district along with benefit of the customer service that RISA will be able to provide as a whole. This agreement will be an action item on the agenda for the November regular board meeting and will be there for your consideration. Can I answer any questions?
I have a couple.
Yep.
Do we have a dollar amount as to the savings?
It's approximately $30,000 annually.
Okay, and would we be eliminating someone's job?
The person has moved from East China to RISA.
Okay, so
Yep.
the
So
job just wouldn't be.
Yep, it just shifted.
Got it.
Mhm.
So RISA handles all of those activities. They don't hire out a third party?
No, they handle it in-house.
Okay.
Yep.
And they have the right security to protect all the personal information of people?
Yes, they do.
Are we sure?
Yes. Yep, it's in the memorandum of understanding as outlined, but currently there are other districts in our county that use their services and have for quite a while. And in the research phase of this, I spoke to them and they're very happy with the services they're receiving.
Is this an annual agreement?
Yes, it'll be renewed each year. Yep.
And you said the November meeting, not the October meeting?
I'm sorry, the October meeting. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and with that, we're adjourned.